I'm Jason Deere.
I'm Sammy G.
And we are Dice and Dragons. Please take a look at the video description below. There you will see our timestamps as well as some information as to what the video is about. So stay tuned, it's coming up. Enjoy the show.
So now we're going to journey to Mordor with at least 3 out of the 4 members of the Fellowship, at least in this game. So of course yours truly, Sammy G, has to be Samwise Gamgee. And we'll select the player. Jay, Julie, go for it.
I will be Frodo. Mr. Frodo.
Oh, Sam. And we need maybe a better pen that works. And Julie's Mary. Okay, so now we're going to play the game with the advanced rules. And what I've rolled here is a white tree, 3 orc, and a ring. So I'm going to keep the ring and keep on rolling. From my second die, I am going to keep a Gandalf, another ring, and I need to keep at least one of this. So I'm going to have Mary take the damage, but you know what? I'm getting very evil looks, so I will also take a damage and move 2 into Moria. And I will take a damage. So as you see, I'm now in Moria. And I have 1 damage from the Nazgul, and now passes to the player to the left, and Julie will roll. She has rolled a ring, a Gandalf, an orc, and 2 fellowship. She now rolled another ring, a fellowship, and an orc. And I think she's quite happy with that. So now the fellowship will actually cancel out the orc, so it will allow her to move 2. And she rolled a Gandalf. So therefore, she now has split the health bar in 2.
So here goes Mr. Frodo.
And a decent roll. We have 1 ring, 1 Gandalf, 2 fellowship, and an orc. But he's going to save it. No. Oh, he's going to save.
Save the green fellowship.
All right. So he's going to push his luck a little bit. He has another fellowship and a tree, so he could stop if he wants to. But
you have to save 1 die.
You have to save 1 die. So he's going to save that, and he gets the tree again. So he moves into Rivendell, which actually for the advanced rules is not that bad, because in Rivendell, you can set aside the same symbols on any roll. So therefore, if you roll multiple rings, you can actually keep all of them. Whereas now I'm in Moria, and Gandalf has absolutely no effect because he dies off the bridge like a pansy. Moving on. Okay. So even though Gandalf has no effect, I can still set it aside, and I need to set at least 1 aside. So I will set Gandalf aside. He does have to save us from the Balrog after all. Moving on, I have a ring. So I cannot keep both as much as I really want to. So I will keep a ring and roll again. And now what happens here is Gandalf has no effect. The orc actually cancels out my movement, so I am stuck in Moria for this turn. So we have a Nazgul, which must be set aside. Julie keeps the ring. And anything else? She has a couple orcs and a fellowship. Pushing the luck. And we have a Gandalf, which, because in Moria has no effect. And she keeps the fellowship and the orc. They cancel out, so she gets to move to LOTR. And that's it. She marks the X in 1/2 of the screen because she got the Gandalf from the last roll. Moving on. And we have a very painful Nazgul. We have a ring, though. A couple Gandalfs. That's not bad. And the reason why he could actually set aside both Gandalfs is because he is in Rivendell and is allowed to do that.
I'm thanking Lord Elrond.
And he has another Nazgul that's going to go to Mary. He's going to keep that. And he moves to Moria. But after he uses the Gandalf.
So take 1 hit.
And beautiful. So it's a good point to say if you actually rolled many, many Gandalfs and you get to the end of your track here and you can't split anymore, that's it. This Gandalf has no more effect. So now what I've rolled here is a Nazgul, which I must keep. So Pippin, here's a great reason why you may want to have 4 players, because this is kind of a null roll and I have to keep it. I'm also going to keep one of the rings. Yes.
So why are you keeping the black ring and not the yellow ring?
I want to keep the black one because that makes the active player, and I guess it doesn't really make a difference if it's black or yellow. Oh no, yellow could attack you in case I get a Nazgul. Aha, I thought I was Frodo for a second. I'm stuck on the how to play. I'm going to keep the Fellowship, and we're going to roll one more time. And here I have an Orc, but it gets canceled with the Fellowship. Pippin would take a damage, but he's not playing with us, and I would move to LOTR. And there we go.
So in LOTR, one Fellowship cancels 2 Orcs.
That is correct.
That's where I am. Okay. Gandalf.
Yep, so we have a ring, a Gandalf. Very nice. She's going to take another Gandalf. She must keep the Nazgul roll and has a Fellowship. And up to her to either re-roll it or not, or just kind of take the damage and move ahead. She's going to roll again. And stays put, but at least gets the Gandalf. So she can split 2 of the health, but because she rolled that unchecked Orc, she cannot move forward to Mordor and takes 1 damage. Or a half a damage in this case. First roll, we have 2 Fellowship, 2 Orc, and a Gandalf. And you are in Moria, so it has no effect, your Gandalf.
I will keep the Fellowship.
And move on.
I will keep the Orc.
Okay, so we have it canceled out, no problem. We have a green Nazgul. Pippin gets hurt again, but he's not here. Lucky guy.
And Harry gets hurt, but Frodo moves on to LOTR.
There we go. And now in LOTR, again, 1 Fellowship cancels 2 Orcs. So not so bad. So black die means active player, but again, I could hit Mary for 1 and not take damage myself. So I'm going to do that. And because I rolled a Nazgul, even though I rolled multiple Nazgul, I only need to set 1 aside. I don't need to take both of them. So you can actually keep moving on. I am also going to keep 1 Fellowship just in case I get Orcs, because I would like to move on and hopefully I get some rings.
And you kept the red dice to protect yourself.
That is right. So I'm going to keep a Gandalf and roll again. Perfect. So I got the white tree, which means I have to stop. It's my 3rd turn anyways. Gandalf would resolve, so I will split the Nazgul bar in 2. I will move to Rohan. And that is it.
Mary's taking a beating.
So we have 2 rings, a white tree, which means actually it's interesting. She could stop right now and just move 2 ahead, actually, because of that white tree. And because the Fellowship cancels out the Orc, she's free to move. So that is a perfect example why you would want to use the white tree. That's a great roll.
That is.
And now you're on Helm's Deep. Ooh.
So.
We have a ring. We have a Nazgul. Mary's getting beaten up. And a Gandalf. That is saved.
Or I can just take the roll and...
If you're happy with the roll, you can keep the roll.
Might as well just keep the roll and move on to Rohan.
And there you go. All right, so he moves on to Rohan. Now in Rohan, you get to...
in there?
Did you? I think so.
Yes.
Yes, you did. So in Rohan, I could re-roll dice once per roll, which actually means 3 rolls. I could re-roll all the dice if I so choose. So that is the fun of Rohan. Now this is not necessarily bad. I'm going to keep the Gandalf but re-roll for my first one. And I have to take a damage because of the Nazgul, but I'll also keep a ring. I'm now going to go on to my second roll. And I have a ring and the tree, and even though I take a damage, I'm going to stop there because that's not bad. And I'm going to go straight through to Gondor. I'm going to split using Gandalf, and most importantly, I have to take a damage from the Nazgul, and see I only marked off 1/2 of the board. So we're going to take just a quick pause, and that incessant beeping, and we will be right back. So welcome back. Thank you very much. Sorry for the distraction. And before we went to break, Mary made just an incredible roll with 4 rings and a fellowship. Now, going back to the rules, it's unfortunate that she can't keep all of these lovely rings and effectively win the game. She can only set aside 1, and you only end your turn once all the dice have been set aside. So it's kind of sad, but if you had the white tree, then no problem, you could have ended right there. And then we have another ring. We have a Gandalf and an orc that she's going to re-roll for the same orc. But because it gets canceled with the fellowship, she can move on.
Because
you're re-rolling.
I'm in Helm's Deep. It takes 2 fellowship to cancel 1 orc.
Oh, so then unfortunately, as the penalty in Helm's Deep, nothing moves, nothing goes on. She cannot advance.
This cancels this one. I still advance.
No,
1.
you do not advance 1.
Unchecked orc means you do not advance. Boo! There was an epic battle, Helm's Deep. Not so much in this game.
Roll the dice.
So we have 2 rings, an orc, a fellowship, and a Gandalf. So we are setting aside a ring, a fellowship, and a Gandalf to roll 2 more rings. Can only set 1 aside. And the last but not least gets another Gandalf. So that's a pretty decent roll. You advance 2.
To Gondor.
And you're going to split your track twice more. Beautiful. Now in Gondor, Nazgul do not affect active players. So that's quite nice if you're the black or, for me, the red die. So I have a yellow, I have a red, which will not affect me, but let's just go and hurt Mr. Frodo. I'm not being a very nice Sam. You know what? I'll be more of a team player. I'll take the damage and keep a ring because it doesn't affect me. I'll be a team player here. I'm going to keep aside the fellowship. More incessant beeping, but I'm going to quickly finish my turn here. And I get another ring and a orc, which gets canceled by the fellowship. So I move ahead to Shelob's lair. And stay tuned for more, unless the beeping stops. In which case, Julie, go ahead. So what we have is a ring, 2 orc, a fellowship, and a Nazgul, which hurts herself. Oh, poor Mary. We have another ring, another damage to Mary, but you're going to keep that roll?
She might as well.
Choice.
Yep. So she wants to get out of Helm's Deep, so she will advance 2, but she needs to take 2 damage as well, but you also get to split your track another half.
Yep.
Perfect. Keeping the health, keeping the health. All right, Mr. Frodo.
Gondor. Let's get through the Pelennor fields and on to Minas Tirith.
And we have a bunch of orc, no, actually 2 Nazgul, a tree. It's going to hurt Pippin.
Because Pippin isn't here, he can take it.
It's going to do, he has some fellowship, a white tree, and an orc.
Set one aside.
You must set one aside, so you took the fellowship, and he gets a wish and moves forward into Minas Tirith, and his last roll gets to split the track 2 more times because of the Gandalf rolls.
Do I do that? No, I'm going to take the
That was your third. That was your third roll.
No, that's true.
So you get to take much health and max it out. So you're going
I
to...
could keep going.
Nope. 3 times max. And for Sam, in Shelob's lair, Shelob already cancels 1 ring. So effectively, I need to roll 2 rings to get out of Shelob's lair to get into Mordor. And that's a lot of Nazgul and nastiness. So Mary's going to take another hit for the team. We're going to move forward. So now I have a ring. Mr. Frodo gets hit, and trying to get a ring here doesn't happen. But what I will do is take the Gandalf first, and each Frodo and Mary will take a damage. And unfortunately, I cannot get to Mordor because I'm stuck in the lair.
You're stuck in the lair?
Yep, which means I need 2 rings to win the game. And we have 2 Orc and Nazgul, which you must set aside, and hurts me. Ouch.
No, it doesn't, because I am in Minas Tirith, and Nazgul only affect the active player.
Oh, so Mary's getting beaten up.
Yeah.
These are the penalties. This is why we say use the advanced rules, because it actually adds a little bit of flavor to the game. So now we have an Orc, a Fellowship, and a tree. So you could stop there, or you could go for the Gusto and try to win.
She wants to win, I think.
So then you would set the Fellowship aside, and hopefully you get 2 ring for the win. Aww, but you get another damage, but oh, you don't even move. So luckily you get to split first before you take the damage from the Nazgul, and you are down to 3 or 2, depending on how Gandalf comes or not, the White Wizard.
Let's see what happens here.
So we have 2 Nazgul to must set aside, so Pippin's going to take one for the team who's not present.
But it doesn't matter because it still hits me.
Oh, because you're in Minas Tirith as well. That's going to hurt. And again with the Nazgul. And can you win? No. So you're taking 2 damage in Minas Tirith.
Jeez, this is a terrible place to be stuck.
Well, would you rather get hit by Nazgul or Minas Tirith? That's the question. So I'm getting killed by a spider. Spider or Nazgul, how do you want to take your death? Come on, ring. Damn it. Nah. So close. Come on, 1 ring.
No.
Dang. So gets canceled out. I need to take 1. Pippin takes 1, and we move. Keep going. It's actually getting a really fun playthrough. So now we have a few rings here, which is good, but you can only set 1 aside. And you're going to use Gandalf to split your health. Good call. And here we go.
1 more ring.
We have a tree, which means she could stop. Well, that's a useless one because you cannot split anymore with Gandalf.
Yeah, but
you have to set something aside, so that's a good call. And can you win with 1 more ring? No. So what we have is she splits her last Nazgul track. She takes 1 more damage. That's it, just 1 damage, and she moves into Shelob's lair, so that's not so bad. This is getting close, friends. This is getting close. We're almost at the end. And Frodo rolls a couple orcs, a tree, and a Gandalf, and a Fellowship.
I'll keep the Fellowship.
And keep rolling. So we have a couple Gandalfs, a Nazgul, and a ring.
Go for the last ring.
So he's going to take a damage, and he gets a ring. He gets
canceled.
So what happens is he takes his damage, and he is in Mordor. So now in Endgame, both Sam, myself, and Mary each have 1 chance or 1 more turn to get into Mordor, and we will explain tie-breaking procedures if that's what happens next. So let's see here. This is a decent start. I set aside a ring. I'll set aside my ring, and then we keep going. I have another ring. I'm going to actually hit the Nazgul, and 1 more dice, and hopefully it's not an orc. No! I was there! I was there! And I couldn't set it aside. So nothing happens. I'm stuck. I don't make it to Mordor.
Samwise gets eaten by a spider?
Pretty much.
And I'm dead.
And he dies. So the winner of the game is Mr. Frodo. Now,
just like the movies.
Had I made it to Mordor, just for the tie-breaking procedures, we would then count how many empty spaces we have. The one with the most empty spaces, or therefore the most health, would actually win the game. If that is the same, you win as a fellowship. So there is kind of, I guess, a cooperative element to it. But that is how you play the game. It's pretty quick. I think we're running about 15 minutes here. And yeah, so if you want to go, start again, pick another character, turn the sheet over. We've already played on this one, but keep on going because it's that fast and that fun. Hey, thanks very much for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, as always, please comment. Please subscribe. Won't cost you any gold, XP, willpower, nothing. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yes, and if you'd like to follow us to get some more information about when there'll be some new videos and what our upcoming content might be, please follow us on Twitter at dice_and_dragons. You can find us on Facebook at Dice and Dragons Games. We like to interact with our fans, so please head on over and comment. And then you can see some pictures as to maybe what game's coming up at Dice and Dragons on Instagram. And if that's a little bit complicated, don't worry, we included all that information down below in the video description.
So you might see right about now some other links to our other content. It's again free for you guys. We love what we do. And as always, grab a drink, grab your buddy, keep playing games.
Keep playing games.